I'm going to record so I don't forget. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, all right. Well, before we get started with the conversation about animals and everything, um, Kevin, since we have your attention, would you pray us in, please?
Okay, Mother, Father God, we come before you this morning in anticipation that you will fill our hearts with abundance and the words of wisdom and meditation and deep thought will touch our hearts and that we may take it forward in future to bless others around us. We thank you for all you've done and all you will do. And we pray that we are of service to you as we listen to this talk. Amen.
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 Beautiful. And
Beautiful
usually we have
intention
Laura
for
do the bowls too, if you don't mind.
today.
That could
Sure.
be mood enhancer.
Hit it, Laura.
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks, Laura. You
You're
outdid
welcome.
yourself.
Thank you.
So, okay. Um, so I wanted to just bring us up to do a little review from last week. Last week we talked a lot about the energies that surround us, that surround the earth. We talked about present moment and how by coming into present moment, we are not really stopping all thought. We're allowing thoughts to come in, but we're not engaging with the thoughts. We're just allowing them to go back out when we come into present moment. We talked about present moment being something that we could do in as little as maybe 30-second increments. And it really does not only center you, but it centers everyone around you. And so we're starting to use, with the dog training for the veterans, we're starting to use present moment with those dogs, and then teaching the veterans also to come into present moment, because then it stills them. And the thing about the present moment is it is something I think that allows us to be our true selves. And I've heard it said that it decreases the distance between who we truly are and who we project to the world. Because when we're in present moment, there is no time, there is no space. There just is. So, and that's why it's so important. I think, if we look at the 60s and the 70s, when meditation came to the United States as a kind of like a fad or something that more and more people were doing, things like TM and other meditation systems made you sit quietly, and try to still your mind and take all thoughts out of your mind. And a lot of people don't meditate for that reason, because they can't do it. And I'm one of those people. There is no way that I can just sit with a blank mind. It is what it is. And they, some people would tell you that's ego trying to impinge on the subconscious. There's a whole lot of psychological reasons for it. But I just don't think humans today are made to do that. But with present moment, when you come into the presence, you can allow thoughts in, allow them out, and focus on maybe three things is what always helps me. And there's many, many ways to do this. If you read Eckhart Tolle, if you read Michael Brown, if you read a lot of the people who are the gurus in present moment, they will tell you their own technique for coming into present moment. The one that I use is to focus on a sound, focus on a feeling, and that feeling could be your clothing against your skin, and then focus on your breath. You don't have to change your breath. You just have to focus on it. And then don't move. Focus on keeping your mind or keeping your body as still as you can. And that includes your eyes. So if you focus on a point across the room, and you can try this right now, focus on a point across the room. Include your breath in your focus. Include maybe your fingers touching each other or your clothing touching you in your focus. And then maybe a sound. Is there a fan, or maybe the sound of your computer fan? Just a sound. And just focus like that on those things for just 30 seconds. And I'll even time us. Well, I won't, but I'll give us about 30 seconds. Starting now. Okay, now gently come out of it. And what did that do for you internally? Anything? Did anything change?
I felt more centered.
Sally, you're on mute.
I felt a calmness descend.
Right. Okay. You notice Freckles came up, put her head on my shoulder.
Yeah, I noticed that. You had all the pets looking at us.
Right. They felt your presence. They felt my presence. They love being at peaceful, because it gives them an opportunity, instead of reacting to everything, just barking their asses off, or, if they're a cat, running because they're scared. If they're in peace, if you're in peace, it gives them a minute to say, how do I want to behave? You know, they're not constantly reacting to their environment, which has got to be tiring. And animals are very, very smart. Their intelligence, really is trapped in their reactions, in their fear. And so if we bring peace to them, the peace, I call it coming into peace. When I'm working with people and their dogs, I'll say, okay, you know, have you brought your dog peace? Because it's a lot easier than this, you know, the presence process. People don't get it, most people. But so that peaceful feeling you generated for yourself, and it centers you, and every sentient being around you feels it, whether they react to it immediately or not. And what happens with peace is it releases non-peace. So initially, when you come into the presence, you might find yourself being even more tormented by your thoughts, because you got a lot of junk you got to get through to get to the middle. And so you just let those thoughts go. Same with animals. When I'm working with dogs, what I find is when I first bring them into peace, they don't understand the feeling, because nobody around them has ever allowed them to be themselves. They're always having to react to an emotion their owner has, or do something their owner wants them to do, trying to figure out what the communication is. And so by coming into peace, we clarify our ability to communicate, and we come into the only place where we can make change, and that is the here and the now. And we could do that in 30-second increments throughout the day. So, you know, we talked last week a lot about being frustrated, and you still get frustrated. But what you realize is the more you practice this peace, even in the face of frustration, you give yourself a moment to not instead of to react, but to consider and then take action. So you take action rather than reacting to whatever the situation or the issue is. And can you imagine a world where people are taking a moment to consider their thoughts, consider what they say, consider what they do? You know, would we have drive-by shootings? Would we have road rage? Would we have wars? And so this trust technique is a way, you know, most people love their animals and they'll work with their animals, but at the same time, they're working on themselves. They're working on their ability to be peaceful. And their ability to be peaceful then, as Kevin said, it goes out through the community. As you interact with other people in a peaceful manner, they become peaceful. But be prepared for them not to understand what that is, and maybe to react a little bit strongly. But that's okay, because you know it's coming, maybe. And you know that you can be peaceful, and eventually they'll match your peace. Because, you know, even I saw an experiment where a bunch of pendulum clocks were started at different times. There was like 20 of them. And they started them at different times. And then within a few minutes, they were all moving back and forth at the same. And that's because we all come into coherence with each other as we speak to each other, as we interact with each other. We can't help but come into coherence with each other. And that is why, if you're in a bad mood, it seems like everybody in the world is in a bad mood with you. Right? They've come into coherence with you. If you're in a good mood and you persist long enough, everybody around you will be in a good mood. Maybe it's up to them, but you've given them the ground, or you've given them permission to be peaceful, just with your own peace. And so that's why I just see it, you know, being used in. I think it's already being used in some schools and some community groups. But I really think if one person at a time, if we can make their life more peaceful, and that can go up into the collective consciousness, sorry, that area where all of our experiences are stored, then more people can tap into it. It'll be stronger. It'll be stronger than the unpeace that exists there currently. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about this. Now, the one thing that we say about the peace process or the present moment process is that peace and unpeace cannot coexist at the same time. And I wish I could show you videos, and I may do that at some point from the Trust Technique website. There's videos of people working with, say, for example, horses who, you know, are dangerous. Horses are big animals, and if they've been mistreated, if they've been neglected, they really can hurt people. And so when you come into peace with them, the horses they're so intelligent, they immediately react, and they allow you then to work with them. And as they trust you, you can work with them more and more, and they become more peaceful. There's a place in Arizona. Anybody here in Arizona? No. We used to all be in Arizona. Now no one is. But the Saltwater Ranch, it's a place for horses that have been abused. They took the trust technique to them, and they now use that with all of the wild horses that they encounter, and it keeps them from having to put them down. So and you can this can be used in animal shelters for unadoptable pets. If you work with a pet enough and get it to be more trusting of humans, then it will more healthily. He's so cute. Be easier to adopt a pet. So have any of you done present moment before? Have any of you had any experience with present moment? Perfect. Nikki, what was your experience? What did you have?
I had a lot of resistance at first, and then as I
Sure.
went through it, because I did the Michael Brown book, and
Mhm.
basically I was reading and reading and reading. It was a 300-page book. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get through this. And he talked and he talked and he talked and repetition and repetition. Like, can we get to the practical, please? But then once I started doing the technique and going into the breath and all this, being present, it's like, oh, I understand now. And it was worth the wait. And so I still haven't finished completely, but I got far enough into it that I said, okay, I see the value in this now and why people rave about this.
Right. Based on your recommendation, I started it.
Yeah.
And I say started
Uh-huh.
because I like
Yeah, you
you.
just don't
I
finish.
just you have to make yourself the premise of the book that Nikki's talking about is Michael Brown is called the peace process. Presence process, sorry, presence
Presence process.
process.
Yeah.
Um, is you sit, it seems like it should be so easy. Sit for 15 minutes a day in the present moment. So you would focus on your breath, focus on your feeling, focus on a sound, focus on being still for 15 minutes. How hard is that twice a day? Let me tell you, it's incredibly hard. It's very, very hard. Only because your ego comes up with ways not to, because the ego, according to Eckhart Tolle, lives in space and time. And yet our spirit, our soul is timeless and pervasive, all expansive. So there is no space. There is no time for our soul. So as long as we're living in space and time, we have to be living either in the past or the future. And this peace process or presence process asks us to come into the now. And when we come into the now, then we can, I mean, it's kind of interesting the things that happen when you are in the presence. So another thing I'm doing, if you're interested in this, he takes it from a different angle, but Joe Dispenza with his blessing of the energy centers. Are you familiar with that, Nikki? Yeah. So I highly commend that to you. It's called Joe Dispenza Blessing of the Energy Centers. I think you can pick it up on his website for like $20. It's like a 40-minute meditation. And what he does is he gets you to raise the energy of your body, to raise the energy from your first chakra all the way up to the top of your head, so that you can activate your pineal gland. Does everyone know what a pineal gland is? Okay, your pineal gland is thought to be When you see those pictures of the Eye of Horus, that's actually a depiction of your brain, of the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is supposed to be the seat of the soul. In many, many ancient religions, they believe that. And so if you activate your pineal gland, then you activate your third eye, your sight. But you also activate your connection to your soul and your spirit. And so at the same time, you're activating all of your chakras. Then he goes back and you do a blessing of the chakras. And it's a little jarring and it takes a little time to get used to because it's not your, quiet meditation. But it's well worth the effort if you put into it. Helena, I'm interested in your experience with presence.
I'm not quite sure if you're talking presence is similar to meditation. I started doing a ninja meditation quite a few years ago because I was struggling with anxiety, and I heard that it was that they used it with veterans because it helped them calm their body down, and so it really helped me to focus on my body and the way they switch from side to side, and it's really a brain thing. So that really helped me. And then I started probably 5 or 6 years ago meditating every day, as you said, 10 minutes a day. It's amazing that 10 minutes of just sitting, not just sitting, breathing, but being with my own body and quiet or sound. There's something happened, and I don't really have the words for it, but I've continued. Where I'm at right now is still doing it. I'd like to learn more about, how do I want to say it? Not being so distracted by my thoughts. The guidance I'm been getting is you're gonna have thoughts no matter what. You're just gonna have thoughts, and there's if you have this resistance against them, then you're not treating yourself well. So it's a way of being able to sit in present moment and let the thoughts be there and accept them in a kind of kind and loving way. So I'm not beating myself up all the time and try to find another place. And maybe that's what you're referring to as peace or coherence, to get underneath it all. Or I'm not sure of the words right now, but actually, if you are talking the same thing as meditation, it really has changed my life. And now I'm just kind of like maybe trying to get to another level, and I'm not quite sure yet how to go. Are you referring to meditation and present moment as similar things?
Yeah, I believe that present moment is the goal of meditation.
Mhm.
Would you agree, Nikki, based on
say.
what your thoughts are? I mean, I think that is why we were trying to get back in the 60s and the 70s, we were trying to get to present moment, that peacefulness. But we were trying to do it by emptying our heads because that's what we were taught. And I think what we've learned subsequently is that you don't have to do that. As you say, you can allow those thoughts to be there and know that those thoughts, as long as we're not, like, the difference that was explained to me was, as you're sitting in meditation, you think to yourself, I have to get gas for the car. And if that's all you think, then you're fine. I have to get gas for the car. You just okay it, let it go. But if you start to go, yeah, when I get there, there's going to be too many cars, so I'm going to end up sitting in line for 10 minutes. You know how we do. I got to get gas for the car, and oh my God, yeah, I got to go to the cleaners, and then I bet there's 15 cars ahead of me, and I'm going to spend a half an hour sitting there. If you don't allow yourself to go into the secondary thoughts, all the junk thoughts that go along with that aren't even true. How do you even know there's a lot of cars there? How do you even know you're going to wait 15 minutes? But those are the kind of things that we do to bring ourselves out of meditation or out of the presence. So if your thought is, I've got to get gas for the car, we're like, okay, now back to present moment. And every time you realize that you're not in present moment, you're in present moment. It's a weird dichotomy. Yeah. But every time you're sitting there and you're like, oh, what am I doing? Now you're in present moment again. So it's kind of a way. Oh, thanks, Nikki. it's a way to be really, really easy on yourself. Yeah, you could do YouTube's of his Joe Dispenza's stuff too. He's got, Nikki, have you seen his kaleidoscopes meditations? Oh, so cool. Do Google Joe Dispenza kaleidoscope. And anyway, we digress. But that is the coolest meditation because what he does is he does like a mind movie, only he uses a giant kaleidoscope and it puts you right into alpha. I mean, you look at that and it the way it moves and the music, you go right into alpha. And then he's got meditations for abundance and for health and something, something, something. And they're all on YouTube and you can just tune into them. It's very, very cool. But yeah, so go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I was
No, go ahead,
I do
Sally.
it.
Go ahead.
Like you, I was introduced to meditation techniques back in the late 60s, early 70s when I was in college. And I found it extremely difficult because my mind just won't shut off. It never would. And I couldn't focus it. And so I kind of gave up on meditation. But as I grow older, I've found that my artwork is my meditation. When I'm working on my artwork on my candles and things like that, I find that puts me in the present moment. And it's, I don't worry about what my mind is thinking because I am focused. And when I'm done with a session with my artwork, I feel so relaxed and so rejuvenated every time. It's wonderful. And I can go for several hours doing it. It happens. And it's a wonderful experience. So
that flow state is the present moment. Flow state. That's
and I'm like that when I'm doing the bowls.
Yep.
I find that very meditative.
So maybe the trick is just not sitting with a mudra, when your legs crossed. Who can do that anymore? But to find something that engages your soul as well as your mind. And I haven't heard anyone say the television or TikTok or YouTube. Dishes, yes. I remember.
When I'm doing dishes, my mind is all over the place. And I mean, I'm calm, but I just take care of whatever the issue is at the moment.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Charlie. I wanted to acknowledge you guys. I see your hand, Charlie, but I don't see your beautiful mug. What's up?
Well, we're getting told to look at it. I was so bad. She's beautiful, but I find just a closer camera.
So as you can tell, we're talking about present moment. We're talking about meditation. Bobby, I bet you got something to say about present moment.
Like me here now?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very hard to say in one place. It's hard to get there, it's hard to stay there. And I've really kind of given up on at my age now, it ain't gonna happen. So I just take what I can get. I say as long as I can and we're through.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Again, I think that the benefits are there no matter how you get there. And I turned off my camera because I have to let Pete in. But yeah, I think the benefits are there no matter how you get there. And the whole idea of it is to nourish your soul. The whole idea of it is to find your soul and recognize.
Terrie, I lost your picture.
Right.
She turned it off.
Yeah, I had to turn it off because I didn't want you to see my messy house when I was letting Pete in. Sorry. So okay, so when we talk about present moment, when we talk about meditation, we talk about the benefits of it, and the benefits, I mean, go on forever. It also meshes with the conscious mind movement. You know, some people will say mindfulness, mindfulness in eating, mindfulness in driving, mindfulness in everything that you're doing. And I think that's what Sally's describing, is mindfulness. And I think that's what some of you other, Laura was describing, is that you become, hi Pete, totally, I know, you become totally enveloped in whatever you're doing. And that mindfulness, again, feeds your soul. And I think anything that we can do to feed our souls these days is going to make us better people. Hey, Dolly, were you always here?
I've been trying to get on, so
Oh,
I missed a little bit.
that's okay. We're talking about present moment, mindfulness, and meditation. Do you have experiences that you'd like to share about in
I
those
wish
areas?
I wish I did. I'm working on those experiences right now. So when I do, I will definitely share.
Okay. Okay. So we were talking about how easy it is to come into the present moment, you know, just in 30-second increments, and how beneficial even just doing that is. And we were talking about the difficulties that people have experienced trying to quiet their minds, trying to shut their minds off. And what we were talking about is, if you do it in small bite-sized sessions, it's a little bit easier to control your mind and to train your mind at the same time, so that you can do it for longer sessions.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I am having a hard time um, when I am meditating. My mind just goes and wanders sometimes, and I'm not feeling the meditation because I'm thinking about what I have to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know, stuff like that. So that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
In
Well,
small
yeah,
increments.
yeah. Um, okay. So does anybody else have a present moment or something they want to share?
Yeah, Terry, we were having a meditation group in our home now once a week. Taught by,
Oh, nice.
taught by a medical doctor. And a lot of the younger people are really into it. You know, he's like, you know, 10 minutes of meditation, a lot of conversation about what it means, and what you can expect and all that. Then there's another, you know, 10 or 15 minutes of meditation. Some people really get into it, and some of them have some interesting feedbacks. The other part, the simple part about meditation, well, I agree 100% with Sally. What I found when I was doing artwork, you're so focused and you're receptive to what comes next. And so it's like you're building something like a living presence, and you're doing it, you know, instant at a time. So it's like sometimes you don't know what the next step is until it's right there in front of you. And then sometimes magically you know when you're finished. You know when to keep going and when to stop. But the simplest form of meditation, and I probably do it almost every day, is a body scan. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, explain it, Char.
Yeah, a body scan means you're like lying in bed in the evening, you're still. I like to lie on my back, and then put my mind at my feet, and then at my legs, and then at my butt, you know, and go up through my whole body. Sometimes some people have taught, and it's useful to get your focus on your feet. You kind of, when you begin, you stretch them. You know, so you're really feeling the stretching in your feet. And then you feel the tension go. So that's a good way to start a body scan. Because when you're scanning your body, you're scanning to see if there's any tension. And if you get to a place of tension, then you just give a message to relax. And so when that spot relaxes, then you move on to another place in your body. And then some forms of healing meditation, that's also very appropriate too, because like when you have a headache, if you meditate, instead of trying to take pills or escape from the headache, what you do is you're lying still or sitting still, and you put your mind on the headache. And as you do, you describe the headache. And sure enough, give it a shape, give it a color. Yet what happens is it often just moves around. It moves from one side of the head to another point, and you just keep following it until it dissipates, until it's gone. It's another form of healing meditation.
Nice, Charlie. Thank you. That is, it sounds, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, that sounds a lot like what we do in self-hypnosis, which is another form of meditation, right? Relaxing yourself so that you can turn inward. One last thing I want to say before we do our just short meditation, is I forget, I think it was you, Helena, who was saying you had difficulty putting into words some of the things you were feeling when you're in meditation. And interestingly enough, I was just reading about that. And I think it might have been in Waking the Tiger. What they talk about is that a lot of the things that we store in our body, a lot of the things that happen to us happen before we're verbal. So, before we're 6 or 7 years old. And so when those things happen and we revisit those feelings, we can't describe them if we don't have words for them. And part of coming into the presence process is to bring up some of these pre-verbal things that we store in our body and to release them so that the energy then can be used for creation, so that it can be used for, good purposes instead of just causing us pain. And one of the, I found that incredibly interesting because I think it describes, a lot of us, no one was raised perfectly, and some were raised less perfectly than others. And we still, 50, 60 years later are carrying around the energy of what happened to us. And we can't use our mind to think through it because it's not available. It's not available to our thoughts so much. It's a felt sense. It's available to our body. And so that's another benefit of the present moment, is to allow ourselves to release these things. And we don't have to worry about what they were. We don't have to relive them. We just have the emotion, we have the feeling, and we can work from the feeling without having to relive the event. And so, like Charlie said perfectly, you go in, you have that feeling. Maybe it's a clenching in your chest, maybe it's a clenching in your gut. You focus on that clenching in the present moment, and if you keep at it, it will eventually dissipate, and then that energy will be liberated and can go now for healing, for any kind of spiritual pursuit that you have. So that was just one thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah, Terrie, along with that, I'd like to acknowledge that even in past lives, you can bring up feelings from past life and address them the same way through your feeling nature. And I've shared that a number of times when I was in this healing group for 3 years, and I got a migraine headache that came up once a year. And when I addressed it during the session, it was a magical moment to heal. I never had a headache like that ever again.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
After Madonna Ministry.
We
Thanks,
just had
Charlie.
one.
Oh, I
Oh,
just
go
want,
ahead.
okay, it's Corrine. Yeah, one thing that really helped me was I do that where I don't do it twice a day, but I definitely do the 15 minutes, just go into my body and do the meditation and be quiet, like what you're saying. But one of the beautiful things that I try to do, which helps me, like Dolly, you mentioned the monkey brain, is just where I kind of do automatic writing 20 minutes before. So then I get all my thoughts out and all that junk out. And then I do it. And another thing that really helped me a lot, and Charlie, there actually was touch with past lives, which the therapist was amazed about, but where I've done EMDR therapy, where you kind of, where like it's a meditation, but you're either holding on to things back and forth or it's your lights. And it just, some of the stuff that came through, and then you replace it with like a beautiful memory, like, you know, what should have happened, and your brain thinks that's real. I don't know if Bobby's familiar with it, but you know, I mean, I know it helped me a lot, but I just wanted to share that too. But I'm enjoying your speech or your talk, sorry, very much. I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for bringing up EDMR as a whole other topic with, and that goes along with um, EFT and some of the other body releasing things. And it's just so wonderful that we're now understanding how our experiences, how our thoughts are affecting our body, and how our body then affects everything in our world. And that's why we're here, you know, is to overcome the particles, and to become more like waves, right? To become more spiritual, to become lighter. So, okay, is there any other comments? We can do a really short, without music, meditation. Okay. All right. So everybody just take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and allow yourself to settle into yourself. Take another deep breath in and feel the top of your head beginning to tingle as that seventh chakra up there opens up and begins to spin. And as you feel it spinning, you can feel it drawing in all of the wonderful healing energy that surrounds you. And this energy can be whatever color you desire. Some think of it as a golden light. Some think of it as sprinkles or sparkles. Some think of it as a purple or pink, changing colors. It doesn't matter. But become aware of that sensation as that energy enters into your head. And you feel the tingling as it runs down the back of your neck, settling, calming all of those muscles, tendons, all of the areas in your neck that hold your stress, all of the areas in your neck where you try to keep your head up, even though you may not feel like it. Everything there that is negative is being moved away, dissolved, and transmuted into these beautiful sparkles that are surrounding your body. And as the sparkles come down the front of your head, your face, your eyes, your ears, your throat, all of it is just being regenerated, reinvigorated. Every muscle, every tendon, every fiber of your being is gratefully accepting this wonderful energy that's coming down from the universe, coming down from whatever God, source, or creator that exists. And so we allow that energy then to swirl around our heads into our shoulders, where we bear the brunt of the world, where we try to keep everything going with our shoulders. And so we let everything go. That energy comes into our shoulders and it melts away any tension we have there. And it runs down our arms, and we can feel our palms tingle as that wonderful cleansing energy is coming in, and it's leaving our palms and it's going directly into the earth. Any negativity, any dross that's being picked up by this wonderful, wonderful wave of sparkly energy is leaving our body. and going into the earth. And she's going to take it and turning it into something beautiful. And so it's okay to let go of this energy. We don't need it. It's okay to let go of this energy because we are safe to let go of this energy. It's not going to change who we are. It's going to change what we are. And as we allow more of our spirit in with this wonderful, sparkling energy, and more of our soul is enlivened by this energy as it enters every corner, every crevice, every fiber, every muscle of our body, down through our chest, cleansing, clearing away anything that it finds there. Any restriction in our breathing is now gone as we take a deep breath. And we breathe in these wonderful sparkly colors that cleanse our lungs. And our heart. We can feel our heart beating in rhythm with our brain. And we feel our heart, and we feel this energy enter into our heart, cleansing and clearing the energy around our heart, cleansing and clearing the muscles, the vessels. All of the fibers of our heart are now cleansed. Any breaks to our heart are now mended by this wonderful golden energy as it swerves around, creating new and moving away anything that's not necessary. And then this energy goes down the back of our back and it goes into our hips. And there it calms, it clears, it heals any emotions that we're carrying in our back, any lack of support that we feel in our back is now being removed. We know that it's an illusion, and we know from this wonderful golden energy that our backs are being cleared and healed by the swirling of this energy. And we release any negativity from every cell, every fiber of our bones, of our musculature, of our hips. And this energy also comes down the front of our bodies, past our heart, now into our solar plexus, cleansing, clearing all the emotions that are stored there. All the people that we allow to hide are now being ejected. They're no longer needed. We need room for our pure soul. And as this energy moves down into our hips, cleansing, curing, healing all of the organs that reside in our pelvis, all of the organs that so often don't get the attention that they deserve for the hard work that they do for us. And with this golden, wonderful, sparkly energy, we send our gratitude for the work that they've done for us. And as we now move down into our legs, our thighs, the points that keep us upright, we allow those muscles to relax and to release all of the tension that we've been holding there, and to cure and to heal any negative issues or any negative thoughts that we store in our thighs, in our quadriceps, in our muscles. And now this wonderful energy moves into our knees. Our knees are our point of fear, our point of courage. Our knees are that point of our body where we decide to take the next step. We first move our knee to move our leg, and we clear any fears that are hiding in our knees. From every point in time, we clear all of that energy, clear those fears, and we allow our knees now to be who they are. We rely and we trust in the intelligence of our knees, of our courage, which is stored there, as well as the courage stored in our heart. And we allow this energy now to come into our calves, to cleanse, to heal, to go down into our ankles. And now we create this wonderful waterfall coming out the bottom of our feet, coming out of our first chakra, and it grounds us into the earth. And Mother Earth gratefully accepts this energy that we send her. It doesn't work for us, but she knows that she can take it and make it useful for others. And she will lovingly do that for us, because that's what she does when she grounds us, when we ground ourselves. And when we ground ourselves, we ask for her help. We are here, we are spirits having an earthly experience. And it's Mother Earth who helps us to stay on the earth, to keep in our bodies, to pay attention to our bodies, to bring our souls in connection with our bodies so that we can fully experience all that this beautiful planet has to offer. And so now this energy comes back up, it's been transmuted and it comes back up and it surrounds you and it fills your aura and it strengthens the boundaries of your aura, which is so important. There's so much trying to get in these days. And now that we've cleansed and purified, and we're sealing up any holes or any cords or anything that's been removed is now out of our aura. And we allow this energy to come back up. And it meets the energy that's coming into our head, and it creates that torsion with our heart as the center and both sides of our body, that energy is swirling around us. And as we sit in this meditation, and as you listen to my voice, I'd like you to go inward even more. Focus on your breath. Don't change it. Become aware of it. Focus on a noise, a sound in your room. Focus on a point in your mind. Maybe the point between your eyes. Become aware of your third eye. And now just focus on you. Focus on the energy swirling through you. Focus on peace that it brings you. Focus on the fullness of who you are and the gift of who you are. Now, allow this energy to build, this gratitude that you feel, allow it to build. Allow it to fill your body, every fiber, every muscle, every little section of your body, every corner that you're afraid to look into is now filled. This beautiful light of gratitude coming from your heart, coming from your solar plexus, coming from all of your chakras, all joining together in your heart. And your body now is in complete coherence. Your mind is in complete coherence. And allow yourself to dwell in peace. And so now I'd like you to slowly become aware of the room around you, your seat in the chair. I'd like you to become aware of your clothing on your body. Return now to the room, to the place where you are. Stretch your arms, stretch your legs. And when you are able, open your eyes. Still feeling this wonderful sense of gratitude, this sense of newness and rebirth. And still feeling the wonder of the presence of all that is us and all that is around us. Namaste.
Thank you, Terrie. That was wonderful as usual.
Oh, thank you. And I did it right. We ended at 1. I made the intention to end on time because I got yelled at last time.
It's never a yell.
Thank you, Terrie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you everyone for showing up. It's
Thank you.
always an honor to speak with you all and to be with you all and to share with you all. And it's really good to see you, Charlie and Bobby. It's good. It's good to see everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. You guys have my email if you want to talk about trust technique or if you have some questions about it or
Yeah, I loved how all of the animals were coming in on camera today.
Oh, it was wonderful.
and it took 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like 30 seconds that can change a world. And I wish everyone, I just wish everyone could feel what we feel, what we share with our animals.
Yeah.
When we're at peace.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone. Have an amazing
Bye.
week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would everyone please think of me on Friday? I'm having back surgery.
Ah,
I
yes,
would appreciate any love and light and prayers that you can send for me.
definitely.
Okay, we got it. You got it.
All right. Thank you. And
Will
Charlie,
do.
you have a prayer for maybe next week for us to talk about? You sent it to me in email. You're on mute. I'm muted.
Char, you're muted. Charlie.
Hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Okay.
Yes, power of prayer is taught by Ernest Holmes, and it's very powerful,
Okay.
very specific. It's a technique that has helped thousands.
Beautiful. All right. You're on tap for next week then. Thanks, everybody.
you.
Have a wonderful week.
You too.
Blessings
Cheers.
to all.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.